Bien, merci, merci Jean-David pour cet exposé
Thank you very much,
très complet.
Jean-David. We now have at about 20 minutes for the Q&A session, and I'd like to start with the first question. There have been now 2 years of meetings, announcements, and at the end, failures. So, my question, what could happen? What could happen now with that latest arrangement, latest deal? The ratification, you said just there could be an automatic mechanism of entry into force, but could we imagine that one of the big countries, the key countries, does not ratify? And is this a risk for the whole construction? So as far as perception is concerned, I have been absorbed by the events here, so I don't know if there are already repercussions or effects or reactions of the markets. But on the substance and on the question I just asked, are the decisions of those last days perceived as being credible? I would say yes. Yes. Why? Because we are all convinced that if we do not do what we say to do and plan to do, it would be the end of the euro. And that is definitely something that no one wants to see. Therefore, you have a strong pressure on national parliaments, on the people, so as to implement decisions. Thierry actually was thinking on France, right? Oh, okay, not absolutely. Referring to the big countries. And I cannot speak for Germany, of course not. And I have no doubt on Germany. Why? Because the decision is a golden rule. The golden rule already exists in Germany. We have to adopt it in France, which means that you have public finances management rules with limits and strict rules. So this is something we will have to adopt in France, like the 17 other Euro states who don't, those at least of whom don't have it yet. And that golden rule will be transposed into national legislation under the supervision of the Court of Justice. And we have other measures as well. The decision, for instance, that the budget deficit exceeds 3%, directly, European Commission can check with automatic sanctions. And the sanctions can be gradual sanctions that can only be exempted if there is a qualified majority to decide upon that. So this is one example, but it's an example of how a collective discipline will be necessary and will be also present. But this is absolutely important for convergence. Absolutely. But in France, we have presidential elections, a ratification before the month of March, right? Well, the treaty will be negotiated until March, because you have to find the wordings and the legal instruments for all these decisions. And this will be then the final treaty. And once the final treaty is ready, each country will have to ratify it. And because it is the end of the legislature, it will be the French president. Presidential elections are in May and June for the parliament. They will have to take appropriate measures. So it will be interesting to see how markets will react. Jacob, you have a question, please.